Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's devlog. Phew, this week went by really fast. I hope I'm not the only one who felt this way. Anyways, a lot happened this week, even if it went by that fast. And overall my mood has been kind of weird for the past 2 or 3 days, but I'm not sure what might be the reason. This did hinder my work for one day, which was Thursday, but I managed to get back on track today, on Saturday. Of course, as always, I'm in a hurry, but this time it's because I have a friend over in 1 hour and I need to get this done so I can edit the video and my computer can render this while I'm busy hanging out, so I don't have to do this, as always, on Sunday. So this is what I did this week. I started implementing Chapter 1 into the prototype, continued implementing new scenes into the Twine prototype for the scene overview. I continued writing the synopsis and Chapter 2. I finished implementing up until the mid of Chapter 3 into the prototype. More about this in a second. I added background placeholders. I planned what I'm gonna do next week. And I made this devlog. In total, all of this took 3 hours of project and file management, 3 hours of writing, no hours on game art and research, 2 hours on game design, no hours on coding, 10 hours of implementing, 4 hours on social media management, and 13 hours of miscellaneous stuff and lollygagging. Alright, as mentioned, I managed to get mostly back on track, and I think it was a good decision to extend the prototype phase for another week, i.e. up until week 8, because I'll need to wrap up the synopsis, the scenes and Twine, and then implement everything into RenPy. About implementing the story. If you remember last week's devlog, you'll remember that I showed you the prototype's prologue. While it only contained art placeholders and currently, or like at that time, no backgrounds, the text was already implemented. It was not proofread yet, but it's basically very close to what's gonna be in the final game. But, and here comes the big but, this is not what I will be doing for the rest of the game. The reason for that is quite simple. I want to actually make the game playable from start to finish in this phase, and if that means having rudimentary text placeholders, then so be it. What I mean by that is that in the prologue, I had the characters actually talk to each other, and I had some narration in there, albeit not yet proofread, but that will come in time. And in the following chapters, what I did is mostly summarize what happens, so I don't have the characters talking directly to each other, and I have something more akin to this what I did in Chapter 2. Nancy and Bloodwen stroll through town a bit until they come across a fortune teller's shop. Bloodwen wants to check it out, but Nancy is against it at first. They meet up with the boys again after that. While in the prototype it's a mere 3 sentences, in the final game it of course will be longer and more detailed to make the reading experience better for the player. But if I were to do that in this phase, I wouldn't be getting done, because 1, it's unnecessary, and 2, it's impossible to add that kind of depth just yet. Unnecessary because I'm only setting up the structure for the game now, and it's more important that the structure works. And impossible because the text that would be implemented is not yet written, because again, I'm a one-person team, and I mentioned this before, I need everything to happen at once to make it the most efficient way, but that's not possible again, because I am one person. The plan for next week is finish implementing the remaining chapters that are the second half of Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, and the 3 endings. Not much else. Of course, that includes finishing up Twine prototype, updating all the documents, and finishing the summary. And of course, continuing on writing the actual in-game text. But I'm pretty positive that I'll be able to do that. Also, one thing that I'm gonna do is something my professor asked me to do for this week, which I couldn't do because I have kind of forgot about it, to be honest. And that's tracking how long it takes me to make the art assets. because that will be important for how many assets I will be able to make in total. And I gave him a rough estimation, and I said that for character sprites about 30 minutes to 45 minutes is realistic. And for backgrounds, I don't know because I've never done backgrounds. I said for backgrounds it's realistic that it will take 4 hours and more. And I said to him that, and he asked if I would be keen on using photographs, and I was like, no, I don't think that it looks good if a visual novel does this. And I kind of said I have enough time, so I should be able to make backgrounds. I hope that doesn't bite me in the ass later. But what I said, what I would be doing is making the rooms in Blender or any other 3D software, but Blender is the one I have and I'm the most comfortable using. Making the rooms and then screenshotting it and then painting over, which is something a lot of artists do. Also concept artists tend to do this a lot. We had a lecturer who used to say that a lot of concept artists don't know how to draw, but they do know how to make good 3D models, so they use their own 3D models and trace over that, which is something I think I talked about in my tracing video. I hope I did, because if I didn't, that would be kind of bad. I can't remember, but it was mostly about fan art and tracing, and I think I mentioned that, but that's something that's used in the games industry, not because people are lazy, but mostly because as a concept artist, you need to basically shit out 20 concept arts in half an hour, and if you were to draw all of them, that would not be possible. In my case, it's not because I'm uncomfortable with drawing 2D. It's because I do not have any idea how to do perspective, first of all, because I have never been trained in art, to say it like that. I had perspective at all the basics in school, but I never used them because I was like, I'm only gonna draw characters, and that was it. So using a 3D environment will be helping me out throughout the progress of making these games. Yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on using photographs. But I think, yeah, that's all for today. If you're watching this by the time this video goes online, which will be Sunday the 20th of October, then you can join me on Twitch later this evening at 6 PM Central European Summer Time. I'll be back with some Code Vein, hopefully, if everything works out. Either way, all my social media links and the link to my Twitch channel, of course, are in the description below. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with everything I do, and I hope I will see you next week. Bye!